The unexpected visitor. Marcus Reed wiped grease from his hands and stepped back to admire his work. The ancient generator hummed to life, its steady pulse a comforting sound in the lonely outpost he called home. 6 years on Proxima Station, a forgotten waypoint orbiting a barren moon in the Tau Ceti system, had taught him to appreciate such small victories. That should keep the lights on for another month, he muttered to himself, his voice echoing in the cavernous maintenance bay. The outpost had been built during the first wave of interstellar expansion, before the discovery of the quantum fold made such relay stations obsolete. Now it was just Marcus and his machines, monitoring deep space for anomalies and maintaining emergency beacons that rarely activated. Marcus had chosen this isolation after the Centauri incident. Some said he was running from his past. He preferred to think of it as embracing simplicity. No politics, no bureaucracy, no reminders of his failures as chief engineer aboard the Centauri Endeavour. He reached for his tablet and logged the repair. Station protocols still mattered, even if no one ever read his reports. As he finished, a warning flashed across the screen, accompanied by a shrill alarm he hadn't heard in years. Proximity alert. That can't be right. Marcus rushed to the control room, his boots echoing on the metal walkway. The main display showed a small craft tumbling through space, trailing a plume of plasma. Its trajectory would bring it dangerously close to the station. "Computer, identify vessel," Marcus commanded, sliding into the operator's chair. "Unknown configuration. No matching registry in database," the artificial voice responded flatly. Marcus's fingers flew across the console. "Computer, activate tractor beam, intercept course." For 3 tense minutes, Marcus watched as the station's aging system struggled to capture the spinning craft. Finally, the vessel stabilized, suspended in the blue glow of the tractor beam. "Bring it into Bay 3, Marcus ordered, already moving toward the hangar. By the time the mysterious craft settled onto the landing pad, Marcus had suited up. The ship was unlike anything he had ever seen, sleek and angular, with a hull that seemed to shimmer between states of matter. No visible propulsion system, no standard docking ports. It was barely larger than a shuttle, but its design suggested capabilities far beyond human technology. "Hello." Marcus called through the external comm, "This is Proxima Station. Do you require assistance?" No response came. Scans indicated the vessel's hull integrity was compromised, and life support systems were failing. If anyone was inside, they wouldn't survive much longer. Marcus made a quick decision. He activated the emergency override on the hangar's atmosphere control, flooding the bay with breathable air, then approached the craft. Its surface was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse beneath his gloved hand, almost like something alive. After circling the vessel twice, Marcus found what appeared to be a hatch. No obvious mechanism controlled it, but as he pressed his palm against the surface, the material retracted, revealing a dimly lit interior. The air that escaped carried an unfamiliar scent, like ozone and something floral. Marcus hesitated, then stepped inside, ducking to avoid the low ceiling. The interior was a single chamber filled with intricate technology that defied understanding. Crystalline structures pulsed with inner light, and fluid-filled conduits ran throughout the space. In the center lay a figure, motionless on what appeared to be a control platform. Marcus moved closer, his heart pounding. The being was humanoid but clearly not human. Tall and slender, with skin the color of burnished copper that shimmered with subtle iridescence. Long, delicate fingers ended in points that resembled claws. The face was angular, with large, almond-shaped eyes closed in what might have been unconsciousness. Marcus knelt beside the alien figure. "Can you hear me?" he asked, unsure if his words would have any meaning. The being's eyes snapped open, completely black except for pinpoints of amber light that focused on Marcus with startling intensity. It spoke, the sound melodic but incomprehensible. Marcus shook his head. "I don't understand." "You're injured. I want to help." The alien struggled to sit up, wincing in obvious pain. A dark fluid seeped from a wound in its side. It reached toward a panel on the wall, pressing several points in sequence. A small device detached and floated toward them. The alien took it and affixed it to its throat, then spoke again. "My gratitude for your intervention." The voice was feminine, deep and resonant with an unusual cadence. "I am Nirel, navigator of the Vrithian Concord. My vessel has suffered critical damage." Marcus stared in amazement. "A universal translator? That actually works." "A neural interface," Nirel corrected. "It is interpreting your language patterns and adapting. I must repair my ship before they track its energy signature." "They? Who's after you?" Nirel's expression darkened. "The Corvin Imperium. Hunters. They will not stop until they have what I carry." Marcus helped Nirel to her feet. She was taller than him by at least a foot, and surprisingly light despite her size. "Let's get you to medical first. Then we can worry about your ship." "No time," she insisted, clutching her side. "The damage extends beyond my physical form. The ship's core is destabilizing. If it ruptures, it'll take this whole station with it," Marcus finished, understanding immediately. "What do you need me to do?" Nirel studied him, those amber points of light seeming to peer into his soul. "You are a technician. Engineer. Used to work on starships before." He trailed off. "Let's just say I know my way around engines, human ones anyway." "The principles are universal," Nirel said, moving toward a damaged section of the wall where circuits sparked and fluid leaked. "The quantum lattice must be realigned or the dimensional breach will expand." Marcus had no idea what she was talking about, but recognized the urgency in her voice. He followed her to the damaged area and watched as she manipulated crystalline components with practiced precision. "These connections," she indicated, her voice weakening, "must be restored. The flow pattern must remain unbroken." As Nirel attempted to continue working, she suddenly collapsed. Marcus caught her before she hit the floor, feeling the strange warmth of her skin through his suit. The wound in her side had worsened, the dark fluid now flowing freely. "Nirel?" Marcus called, but her eyes had closed again. Left alone with the damaged alien vessel, Marcus faced a choice. He could take Nirel to medical and risk the ship's core destabilizing, or attempt repairs on technology he couldn't begin to comprehend. He looked at the injured alien, then at the sparking systems around him. The last time he'd made a split-second engineering decision, hundreds had died on the Centauri Endeavor. But doing nothing wasn't an option this time either. Marcus gently propped Nirel against the wall and turned to the damaged systems. "Universal principles," he muttered, remembering her words. "Let's find out just how universal they really are." With careful hands and focused mind, Marcus began the impossible task of repairing an alien ship, unaware that his actions would soon change the course of two civilizations forever. Marcus stared at the alien technology before him, his mind racing to make sense of the unfamiliar components. The ship's internal lighting flickered as another power surge rippled through the systems. Time was running out. "Think, read," he muttered to himself. "Break it down to fundamentals." Despite the exotic materials and bizarre configurations, certain patterns began to emerge as Marcus studied the damaged section. The crystalline structures seemed to channel energy in specific pathways, not unlike the power distribution nodes on human vessels. The fluid-filled conduits pulsed with a rhythm that reminded him of cooling systems. Marcus retrieved his toolkit from the maintenance bay and returned to find Nirel stirring. Her amber eyes focused on him with effort. "You're still here," she said, her voice weaker than before. "Where else would I be?" Marcus replied, kneeling beside the damaged panel. "Your ship needs fixing, and I'm the only mechanic for about 50 million miles." Nirel attempted to rise but winced in pain. "The core configuration, it's unlike anything in your experience." "Maybe," Marcus conceded, "but energy is energy. Matter is matter. I've got a feeling the laws of physics apply to both our species." He opened his toolkit and selected a diagnostic scanner. When he passed it over the damaged section, the readings fluctuated wildly. "Interesting," he murmured. "Your ship's power system operates on quantum entanglement, doesn't it? These crystals act as transmission nodes." Nirel's expression shifted to one of surprise. "Your understanding exceeds expectations for your technological level." "Don't sound so shocked," Marcus said with a half-smile. "Humanity's been experimenting with quantum tech for decades. We just haven't mastered it for practical applications yet." Working methodically, Marcus began isolating the damaged components. Some were beyond repair, but he found he could reroute the energy flow around them. The fluid leaking from the conduits posed another challenge. It seemed to change properties when exposed to air. "This liquid," Marcus said, carefully collecting a sample, "it's some kind of programmable matter, isn't it?" Nirel nodded. "Nanocellular fluid. It adapts to electrical impulses and forms temporary structures within the ship's matrix." "Like a self-healing system," Marcus mused. "Brilliant." Hours passed as Marcus worked, occasionally consulting with Nirel when he encountered something completely beyond his understanding. Despite her weakened state, she proved an excellent teacher, explaining concepts that would revolutionize human engineering if they ever became widely known. As Marcus sealed the last connection in the primary power array, the ship's lighting stabilized. A low hum emanated from the core, steady and reassuring. "I think we've got it," he said, wiping sweat from his brow. "Primary systems are stable. Now we need to get you patched up too." The medical stasis unit, Nirel indicated a recessed panel near what appeared to be the pilot's position. "If you can restore power to it, it will accelerate my healing." Marcus nodded and moved to the panel she had indicated. Inside was a chamber lined with the same crystalline technology he'd been repairing. After connecting several bypassed circuits, the chamber illuminated with a soft blue glow. "That should do it," he said, helping Nirel to the chamber. "It's like a medical pod, right?" "Similar in concept," she agreed, settling into the device. "It will repair cellular damage and contain the nanites necessary for tissue regeneration." As the chamber sealed around her, Marcus returned to the ship's systems. With the immediate crisis averted, he could focus on understanding the vessel's capabilities and the nature of the threat Nirel had mentioned. The control interface was unlike anything he'd encountered, no buttons or screens, just crystalline formations arranged in patterns. Yet as he studied them, Marcus began to discern their purpose. One cluster seemed related to navigation, another to communications. When he touched the communication array, the ship responded, projecting a three-dimensional display into the air. Strange symbols scrolled past, meaningless to Marcus, but organized in what appeared to be a log or record. "Computer," he said hesitantly, "can you translate?" To his surprise, the symbols shifted, rearranging into English text. The ship's systems had interfaced with Nirel's translator and adapted. The log entries detailed Nirel's mission. She was a scientist and explorer who had discovered something of immense value during an expedition to a remote star system. The Corvan Imperium, a militaristic species from a distant part of the galaxy, had intercepted her during her return journey. They sought what she had found, something referred to only as the catalyst. Further entries warned that the Corvans possessed advanced tracking technology and would likely follow her quantum signature to locate the ship. The final entry, made just before the crash, estimated their arrival within 48 Earth hours. "What have you gotten yourself into, Nirel?" Marcus whispered, glancing at the healing chamber where she floated, suspended in blue light. A soft chime from the chamber interrupted his thoughts. The healing cycle had completed, and the chamber was opening. Nirel emerged, her movements fluid and graceful once more. The wound in her side had closed, leaving only a faint mark on her copper skin. "You've been busy," she observed, noting the activated systems and the display still hovering in the air. "I was curious," Marcus admitted. "These Corvans, they sound dangerous." Nirel's expression hardened. "They are relentless. Their society values power above all else, and they believe the catalyst will give them dominion over the galaxy. And will it? Not in the way they imagine, she replied cryptically. The catalyst is not a weapon, but it could become one in the wrong hands. It's why I must reach the Concord. My people can protect it, study it properly. Marcus crossed his arms. According to your logs, we have less than 2 days before they show up. Your ship's operational, but can it outrun them? Nirel moved to the control interface, her long fingers dancing over the crystals. The display shifted to show the ship's status, all systems functional, but the main drive was still at reduced capacity. The quantum drive needs time to fully regenerate, she explained. Perhaps another day. We could attempt departure now, but our chances of evading detection would be significantly reduced. Then we wait, Marcus decided. And prepare. This station has defenses, old, but functional. If we can delay them, give your drive more time to charge. Nirel considered this. A risky strategy, but possibly our best option. She turned to face him fully. You understand what you're proposing? The Corvins will show no mercy to you or your station. Marcus thought of the empty years he'd spent on Proxima Station, hiding from his past. For the first time since the Centauri incident, he felt a sense of purpose. I'm not letting you face them alone, he said firmly. Besides, I've got nothing better to do. A smile, the first he'd seen, curved Nirel's lips. Then we will prepare together. Over the next several hours, Marcus and Nirel integrated the station's defensive systems with her ship's more advanced technology. The aging shields were reconfigured using principles Marcus had never imagined possible, and the outdated weapon arrays were enhanced with quantum targeting algorithms. As they worked, Nirel shared more about her people and their scientific achievements. The Vrithian Concord was a coalition of species dedicated to exploration and knowledge. They had achieved interstellar travel millennia before humans had ventured beyond their own moon. Why haven't we encountered your people before? Marcus asked as they calibrated the station's sensors to detect Corvin signatures. The galaxy is vast, Nirel replied. And the Concord observes non-interference protocols with developing civilizations. We monitor, we learn, but we do not intervene. Until now, Marcus noted. Nirel paused, her amber eyes meeting his. My arrival here was not intentional. But yes, this represents a significant deviation from standard protocol. A warning tone from the ship interrupted them. The display shifted to show a distant energy signature, faint but distinctive. That's them, isn't it? Marcus asked, studying the readout. Nirel nodded, her expression grave. They've found my quantum trail sooner than anticipated. We have perhaps 12 hours, not 24. Marcus felt a chill run through him but pushed aside his fear. Then we'd better speed things up. I'll prep the station's emergency protocols. As he turned to leave, Nirel caught his arm. Her touch was warm, almost electric. Marcus Reed, she said solemnly, you should know that what I carry, what they seek, it could change everything for your species. If we fail. We won't, Marcus interrupted with more confidence than he felt. I didn't spend 6 years on this rock just to have some alien empire blow it up. Nirel studied him for a moment longer, then released his arm. Very well. Let us continue. As they returned to their preparations, neither spoke of the growing tension between them, a connection forming despite their different origins. And neither mentioned the small container Nirel had removed from a hidden compartment within her ship, a container that pulsed with a strange light and seemed to bend reality around it. The warning klaxon jolted Marcus from a fitful sleep. He had allowed himself just 3 hours of rest after completing the station's defensive preparations. Now, the shrill alarm indicated those defenses would soon be tested. Computer, status report, Marcus commanded, pulling on his boots. Unknown vessels detected at extreme sensor range, the station AI responded. Configuration matches parameters provided by Navigator Nirel. Estimated arrival, 47 minutes. Marcus rushed to the control room, where Nirel already stood before the main display. Her copper skin reflected the red warning lights, giving her an almost ethereal appearance. "They're coming faster than expected," she said without turning. 3 pursuit vessels, heavily armed. Marcus studied the sensor readings. "The quantum drive?" "At 86% capacity," Nirel replied. "Not optimal, but functional." "Can we outrun them?" Nirel's fingers danced across the crystal interface she had integrated with the station systems. "Perhaps. But they will pursue, and the drive cannot sustain maximum output indefinitely." Marcus considered their options. The station's enhanced defenses might surprise the Corvins, but they wouldn't hold for long. Running posed its own risks. "We need a diversion," he decided. "Something to confuse their tracking systems." Nirel turned to him, those amber points in her eyes brightening with interest. "What do you propose?" "The station's fusion reactor," Marcus explained. "If we modify the containment field to match your ship's quantum signature, then initiate a controlled overload. They would detect the signature and believe it to be my vessel," Nirel finished. "While we escape using minimal power output to avoid detection." "Exactly. We'd have to time it perfectly, get far enough away before the explosion, but not so far that they detect 2 signatures." Nirel studied him with new appreciation. A strategy worthy of a Vrithian tactician. "But the station, your home?" Marcus shrugged. "It's just metal and circuitry. Been thinking about a change of scenery anyway." For a moment, they locked eyes, an unspoken understanding passing between them. Then they moved into action, working with practiced coordination despite having known each other less than a day. Marcus programmed the reactor sequence while Nirel prepared her ship for immediate departure. The catalyst, still secured in its mysterious container, was integrated into the ship's core systems, a necessary risk for the journey ahead. 30 minutes to intercept, the station AI announced. "Almost done," Marcus called, finalizing the reactor modifications. "The containment field is now mimicking your ship's signature. I've set the overload sequence on a timer, we'll have 12 minutes to clear the area." Nirel appeared in the doorway. "The ship is ready. We should depart immediately." Marcus nodded, taking one last look at the station that had been his refuge and prison for 6 years. He had few personal possessions worth taking, just his toolkit and a small data crystal containing family records. As they made their way to Bay 3, the station shuddered. Warning lights flashed across control panels. "They're firing from extreme range," Nirel observed. "Testing our defenses." "Let's hope they take the bait," Marcus replied, quickening his pace. The enhanced shields absorbed the first volley, but the impact still rattled the aging structure. By the time they reached Nirel's ship, the attack had intensified. "Computer, initiate reactor overload sequence, authorization read Alpha 7, Marcus commanded as they boarded. "Sequence initiated," the AI confirmed. 12 minutes to critical mass. Inside the alien vessel, Marcus marveled again at the elegant design. What had seemed chaotic and incomprehensible during his desperate repairs now revealed its brilliant functionality. Nirel took her position at the control interface, and the ship hummed to life around them. "I've engaged stealth protocols," she explained. "We'll exit on minimal power, using the station's mass to shield us from their sensors." The ship detached from the docking clamps with barely a tremor. Nirel guided it carefully away from the station, maintaining position in the sensor shadow. The main display showed the Corvin vessels, sleek, predatory craft with forward-swept wings that reminded Marcus of ancient Earth raptors. They continued their bombardment of the station, focusing on the areas where the modified reactor emitted its false signature. 8 minutes to critical mass, Marcus noted, watching the countdown on a secondary display. "We need to increase distance," Nirel said, making minute adjustments to their course. "The explosion will create a quantum shockwave that could damage the drive if we're too close." As they maneuvered away, one of the Corvin ships broke formation, changing course to sweep the area around the station. "They're searching for us," Marcus observed tensely. "They suspect something." Nirel's expression remained calm, but her fingers moved more rapidly across the controls. "We need only a few more minutes of concealment." The searching vessel drew closer to their position. On the display, Marcus could see its sensor beams probing the space around them. Their stealth systems might not be enough. "4 minutes to critical mass," he said quietly. The Corvin ship paused, hovering just 2 kilometers from their position. Its sensor array rotated toward them. "They've detected something," Nirel confirmed. "Not our full signature, but an anomaly." Before Marcus could respond, the ship rocked violently. A glancing hit from a Corvin weapon. "Stealth systems compromised," Nirel reported, her voice tight. "They know we're here." "Time to run," Marcus decided. "The reactor will blow in 3 minutes, we need to get clear anyway." Nirel nodded and engaged the main drive. The ship leapt forward, accelerating at a rate that would have crushed them without the inertial dampening field. Behind them, all 3 Corvin vessels gave chase, their weapons systems charging. The first shots missed as Nirel executed a series of evasive maneuvers that seemed to defy physics. 2 minutes, Marcus called, bracing himself as another near miss sent vibrations through the hull. "Engaging quantum drive," Nirel announced. "Brace for transition." The ship's crystals pulsed with increasing frequency. The catalyst in its container began to glow brighter, somehow enhancing the drive's output. "Wait," Marcus said suddenly. "If we transition now, the station explosion won't affect them." Nirel hesitated, her fingers poised above the final activation crystal. "We'll be within the shockwave radius." "But they'll be destroyed," Marcus insisted. "Otherwise, they'll just keep coming." Their eyes met across the control chamber. After a moment, Nirel nodded. "A calculated risk. Hold position." She altered their course, bringing the ship into a tight orbit around the station, staying just ahead of the pursuing Corvins. The enemy vessels followed, closing the distance with each passing second. 30 seconds to critical mass, Marcus announced, watching the reactor reading spike. A direct hit rocked the ship, sending Marcus sprawling. Nirel maintained her position, compensating for the damage with remarkable skill. "Quantum drive ready," she called. 10 seconds to transition. The Corvin ships moved in for the kill, surrounding them in a triangular formation designed to prevent escape. 5 seconds to critical mass, Marcus said, pulling himself back to his station. Nirel's fingers hovered over the activation crystal. 3, 2, 1. She pressed down just as Proxima Station erupted in a blinding flash of energy. The quantum shockwave expanded outward at impossible speed, engulfing the Corvin vessels before they could react. At the same instant, Nirel's ship transitioned to quantum space, the protective field barely forming before the edge of the shockwave caught them. The ship tumbled through the quantum realm, systems fluctuating wildly. Marcus held on as reality itself seemed to bend around them. Through the chaos, he saw the catalyst's container crack, releasing a sliver of brilliant energy that lanced toward him. Pain unlike anything he had ever experienced coursed through his body. Every cell seemed to ignite, then restructure. His vision filled with impossible colors and patterns. The last thing he heard before consciousness fled was Nirel's voice, tinged with concern and wonder, "The catalyst has chosen." When Marcus awoke, the ship had stabilized. He lay on the floor of the control chamber, Nirel kneeling beside him. But something had changed. The world around him seemed more vibrant, more detailed. He could see energy flowing through the ship's systems, could sense the quantum patterns that held reality together. "What happened?" he managed to ask, his voice sounding strange to his own ears. Nirel helped him sit up, her expression a mixture of awe and concern. "The catalyst interacted with your biology. This is unprecedented." Marcus looked down at his hands. They appeared normal, yet somehow more. When he concentrated, he could see the molecular structure, could feel the quantum potential in every atom. "What am I now?" he whispered. "That," Nirel said quietly, "is what we must discover. Together." Outside the ship's viewports, the stars shimmered with new meaning as they traveled toward the heart of the Vrithian Concord, and a future neither of them could have imagined. Two worlds collide. The Vrithian homeworld hung in space like a jewel cast against black velvet, swirling azure oceans beneath wispy golden clouds. Marcus stood transfixed before the viewport, perceiving it in ways no human had ever experienced. His transformed senses revealed energy patterns surrounding the planet, protective fields, communication networks, and quantum anchors that stabilized the entire system. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Nirel stood beside him, her amber eyes reflecting starlight. "Vrithia welcomes you, though not as I had planned." In the 3 weeks since the catalyst had altered him, Marcus had struggled to understand what he had become. The changes went beyond enhanced perception, his body had begun incorporating quantum properties that defied conventional physics. When he concentrated, he could phase through solid objects or manipulate energy with his thoughts. "Will your people fear me?" he asked, turning to face her. "They will be cautious," Nirel admitted. "But also curious. The Council has been monitoring our approach. They know of the catalyst's choice." "Its choice," Marcus repeated thoughtfully. "You still haven't explained why it connected with me." Nirel's expression softened. "The catalyst is more than an object, it's a fragment of consciousness from the universe's earliest moments. It seeks to understand reality by experiencing it through other beings. For reasons only it comprehends, it chose you." Their ship approached a massive orbital platform where several Vrithian vessels hovered in formation. A transmission chimed through the communication array. "Navigator Nirel, your presence is requested before the High Council immediately upon docking. The human is to be escorted to the adaptation chamber." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Sounds ominous." "Standard protocol for any non-Vrithian visitor," Nirel assured him. "The chamber will help stabilize your new abilities and prevent accidental harm." As they docked with the station, Marcus felt a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. He had left Earth as an ordinary human seeking isolation. Now he returned to civilization as something unprecedented, carrying power that could reshape worlds. Vrithian officials met them at the airlock, tall, copper-skinned beings similar to Nirel but with subtle variations in height, coloration, and facial structure. They regarded Marcus with undisguised fascination. "We will convene immediately," stated the eldest, wearing elaborate crystalline adornments that Marcus could sense were actually sophisticated technology. "The human's condition requires urgent attention." Nirel touched Marcus's arm reassuringly before being led away by half the delegation. The others gestured for Marcus to follow them down a corridor that seemed to shift and reconfigure as they walked. The adaptation chamber turned out to be a vast spherical room with walls that rippled like liquid metal. As Marcus entered, the entire chamber responded to his presence, surfaces pulsing with patterns that matched his own internal quantum rhythms. "Please stand in the center," instructed one of the Vrithians. "The chamber will analyze your condition and help stabilize the quantum fluctuations within your cellular structure." Marcus complied, moving to a platform that rose slightly from the floor. As soon as he stopped, the chamber activated fully. Light and energy surged around him, neither painful nor pleasant, simply present, like an extension of his own consciousness. Images formed in the air, detailed schematics of his transformed biology, the quantum particles now integrated with his DNA, the emerging neural pathways that allowed him to perceive beyond normal human limits. "Fascinating," murmured one of the observers. "The catalyst has never behaved this way before." "Is he stable?" asked another. The chamber's analysis appeared as symbols in the air, meaningless to Marcus but apparently significant to the Vrithians. Their expressions grew concerned. "Not entirely," replied the first. "The integration is incomplete. Without further intervention, the human's physical form will eventually destabilize." Marcus felt a chill despite the warmth of the chamber. You're saying I'm dying? The Vrithian turned to him with an expression of scientific detachment tempered with compassion. Your current state is transitional. The quantum particles are still aligning with your biological systems. We can help complete the process, but the outcome is uncertain. Before Marcus could respond, the chamber doors opened and Nirel entered, accompanied by 3 Vrithians whose ornate attire marked them as council members. The council has reached a preliminary decision, she announced, her voice carrying an edge of tension. They wish to extract the catalyst from Marcus and contain it for study. Extraction would kill him, objected one of the scientists. The lead council member stepped forward. The risk to our civilization is too great. This human now carries power that could destabilize the quantum fabric of reality itself. We cannot allow such potential to remain uncontrolled. Marcus felt anger rising within him. Don't I get a say in this? I didn't ask for the catalyst to choose me. That is precisely our concern, replied the council member. The catalyst acts with purpose beyond our understanding. Its choice of you, a being from a species barely capable of interstellar travel, suggests intentions we cannot predict. Nirel moved to Marcus's side. I've shared my observations with the council. In the weeks we traveled here, Marcus demonstrated remarkable restraint and adaptation. His intentions are honorable. Intentions can change, the council member countered. Particularly when one possesses such power. The debate continued, with Nirel advocating passionately for Marcus while the council expressed increasing concern about the danger he represented. As tensions escalated, Marcus felt something shifting within him, the catalyst responding to his emotions, amplifying his awareness of the quantum connections binding all matter and energy. In a moment of clarity, he realized he could sense more than just the physical world around him. He could perceive the quantum echoes of possible futures branching outward from this moment, including one where conflict between Earth and the Vrithian Concord led to devastating consequences for both civilizations. Stop, Marcus said quietly, and to his surprise, everyone fell silent. The catalyst's energy had infused his voice with undeniable authority. I can see what's coming, he continued, meeting each Vrithian's gaze in turn. Not just for me, but for all of us. Earth is on the verge of developing its own quantum technology. Within a decade, humans will achieve breakthrough capabilities that will bring them into contact with the wider galaxy. The council members exchanged concerned glances. When that happens, Marcus explained, humanity will either emerge as a partner in peaceful exploration or as a desperate power seeking advantages in a universe they don't understand. The choice points to that outcome are forming now, in this room. He extended his hand, palm upward. A miniature hologram of the Milky Way galaxy appeared above it, with 2 distinct energy signatures, Earth and Vrithia, connected by pulsing threads of potential. The catalyst didn't choose me randomly, Marcus realized aloud. It chose me because I represent the bridge between our worlds. I understand both humanity's fear and ambition, and now I can comprehend the Vrithian perspective as well. Nirel stepped closer, studying the galactic projection with wide eyes. He's right. The quantum signatures show a harmonic resonance between our civilizations, a potential for symbiosis that neither could achieve alone. The lead council member approached cautiously. What are you proposing, human? Marcus took a deep breath, sensing the weight of his next words. Let me return to Earth, not as a human, not as a weapon, but as an emissary. With the catalyst's power stabilized through your technology, I can guide humanity toward responsible development of quantum science. And when they see what you've become, asked the council member. They will want the same power for themselves. Some will, Marcus acknowledged. But I can show them a better path, cooperation instead of competition. The catalyst allows me to demonstrate the benefits of partnership with advanced civilizations like yours. The chamber fell silent as the Vrithians considered his proposal. Finally, Nirel spoke. There is precedent in our ancient records, she said. Before the Concord was formed, advanced species sometimes sent guided emissaries to developing worlds. It prevented many conflicts that might have arisen from uncontrolled first contact. After further discussion, the council agreed to a compromise. Marcus would be fully stabilized, trained in the use of his new abilities, and prepared for return to Earth as an unofficial ambassador. He would introduce quantum concepts gradually, helping humanity avoid the technological pitfalls that had destroyed other civilizations. In the months that followed, Marcus immersed himself in Vrithian knowledge and culture. He learned to control the catalyst's power, to channel it constructively rather than destructively. The scientists developed a crystalline implant that harmonized with both his human biology and his quantum enhancements, ensuring his form remained stable. Throughout this time, Nirel remained his guide and companion. Their connection deepened into something neither had anticipated, a bond that transcended their different origins. On the eve of his scheduled return to Earth, they stood together on an observation platform overlooking Vrithia's night side, where city lights traced patterns across the continent below. "Are you certain about this?" Nirel asked. "Once you return, everything changes. For both our worlds."